The stadium carried an electric atmosphere as thousands of fans waited for another unforgettable performance from Patrick Mahomes. Every expectation pointed toward another display of confidence, precision, and leadership. Instead, the opening moments revealed a different story. Passes missed their targets, timing fell apart, and pressure arrived from every direction. Each mistake increased the tension on the sidelines, where every coach watched closely with a growing concern. The game slowly shifted from a contest of skill into a battle against frustration. Cameras captured expressions that suggested deeper problems than simple execution. The head coach finally stepped forward after another costly error, delivering a stern message that reflected disappointment rather than anger alone. The confrontation stunned everyone watching because such moments rarely happened in public. What began as an ordinary championship battle was transforming into a night that would leave lasting questions about leadership, responsibility, and the painful cost of failure. The warning from the coach did not arrive without reason. Throughout the first half, every possession became increasingly difficult as the opposing defense closed every available passing lane. Mahomes searched for opportunities but found relentless pressure instead. Receivers struggled to separate, protection collapsed at critical moments, and the offense failed to establish any rhythm. Every unsuccessful drive placed greater responsibility on the quarterback, creating a cycle that became harder to escape. The coach demanded sharper decisions, faster reads, and stronger communication among every player involved. Although the criticism appeared harsh, it reflected the urgency of a team fighting to remain competitive. The emotional weight spread across the entire sideline, affecting veterans and younger players alike. Confidence. He slowly gave way to uncertainty. By halftime, everyone understood that dramatic improvement was necessary because the second half promised even greater challenges, with every remaining minute carrying enormous importance for the outcome. Returning from halftime, the team displayed renewed determination, yet the margin for error had disappeared completely. Every play carried greater significance than the one before it. Mahomes attempted to restore momentum with aggressive throws into tight coverage, hoping to inspire the offense through decisive action. Some completions energized the crowd, but costly mistakes continued to interrupt any sustained progress. The opposing defense remained disciplined, refusing to surrender easy opportunities. Meanwhile, the coach maintained constant communication from the sideline, emphasizing composure instead of panic. Every adjustment reflected an effort to regain control before the situation became irreversible. The players responded with determination, but football often rewards consistency more than isolated moments of brilliance. As the quarter progressed, physical exhaustion and emotional strain became increasingly visible. The game was no longer defined solely by talent. It had become a test of resilience under relentless pressure and unforgiving circumstances. Leadership becomes most visible during moments of adversity rather than celebration. Mahomes continued encouraging teammates despite mounting frustration, understanding that confidence could disappear quickly if doubt spread throughout the roster. The coach, however, refused to lower expectations simply because circumstances had become difficult. Every instruction carried urgency, reminding players that discipline often determines victory more than natural ability. The offense attempted to simplify its approach, relying on shorter passes and controlled movement instead of high-risk plays. Small improvements appeared, but valuable time continued slipping away. The opposing team recognized the growing desperation and increased defensive intensity accordingly. Every completed drive required extraordinary effort, while every mistake carried severe consequences. The emotional confrontation from earlier remained fresh in everyone's mind, influencing every decision made on the field. The contest had evolved into a powerful lesson about accountability, preparation, and the demanding standards required at the highest level. As the final quarter began, the scoreboard reflected a narrow but dangerous deficit. Every possession represented one final opportunity to reverse the outcome before time expired. Mahomes fought relentlessly, extending plays and searching for receivers despite overwhelming defensive pressure. His determination inspired teammates, yet football remains a game where collective execution outweighs individual effort. A critical turnover shifted momentum once again, silencing hopeful supporters throughout the stadium. The coach stood motionless, recognizing how quickly months of preparation could disappear because of a few decisive moments. Players on both sidelines understood that the contest had entered its defining stage. Fatigue influenced reactions, while emotions threatened disciplined decision-making. The earlier reprimand now carried even greater meaning because every remaining second highlighted the importance of focus, communication, and trust. The night's most heartbreaking moments were still approaching, promising an ending that few people inside the stadium expected. The closing minutes demanded flawless execution, yet the pressure became almost impossible to manage. Every snap carried enormous weight as the offense searched for one decisive drive. Mahomes remained determined to change the outcome, but the defense anticipated every adjustment. A risky decision under heavy pressure resulted in another costly mistake, immediately shifting momentum to the opposing team. Silence spread across the stadium while the opposing sideline celebrated the opportunity. The coach's earlier criticism suddenly appeared less emotional and more prophetic, reflecting concerns that had developed throughout the game. Teammates attempted to recover, refusing to surrender despite the growing challenge before them. Every remaining play became an act of determination rather than confidence. Time continued disappearing, leaving little room for recovery. The game had reached a point where even extraordinary talent could no longer erase the consequences of repeated errors. Despite the setback, the team refused to abandon its belief. Defensive players fought for every stop, hoping to give the offense one final chance to recover. Mahomes gathered his teammates with calm determination, understanding that panic would only deepen the crisis. The final drive began with renewed energy, producing several important gains that briefly revived hope throughout the stadium. Every completed pass suggested that a dramatic finish remained possible. However, the opposing defense answered with disciplined coverage and relentless pressure. Valuable seconds disappeared after every snap, forcing increasingly difficult decisions. The coach continued signaling urgency while trusting his players to respond under impossible circumstances. The atmosphere became painfully tense as every spectator realized the outcome could be decided by a single moment. Hope remained alive, but it stood on increasingly fragile ground as the clock approached its final seconds. The final moments unfolded with heartbreaking speed. Facing one last opportunity, Mahomes attempted a difficult throw into a narrow window. Knowing hesitation would guarantee defeat, the pass failed to reach its intended target, ending the drive and effectively ending the game. Players stood motionless as the reality settled across the field. The scoreboard confirmed defeat, but the emotional impact reached far beyond the final numbers. The coach removed his headset slowly, recognizing that the painful lessons from the night would remain long after the stadium emptied. Teammates offered quiet support to one another, understanding that responsibility belonged to the entire group rather than a single individual. Fans watched in silence, witnessing not only a disappointing result but also the emotional cost carried by competitors who devoted everything to the pursuit of victory. The night concluded in genuine disappointment and lasting reflection. In the days that followed, conversations focused on the confrontation between the coach and Mahomes. Some believed the criticism was too harsh, while others argued that demanding accountability defines successful organizations. Regardless of opinion, the game revealed important truths about professional football. Talent alone cannot overcome repeated mistakes, broken communication, or missed opportunities. Great teams grow stronger by confronting uncomfortable realities rather than avoiding them. Mahomes accepted responsibility with professionalism, demonstrating the leadership expected from a franchise quarterback. The coach also accepted responsibility for preparing the team more effectively in future contests. Their responses reminded everyone that defeat often becomes the foundation for future improvement. While the scoreboard recorded only a loss, the experience created valuable lessons about resilience, discipline, teamwork, and the relentless standards required to compete at the highest level of professional sports. History often remembers dramatic victories, but difficult defeats frequently shape the strongest competitors. This game became more than a disappointing result because it revealed the emotional demands placed upon elite athletes and coaches. Mahomes experienced criticism in full public view, yet his willingness to face responsibility demonstrated true character. The coach remained committed to high standards, believing that honest evaluation creates lasting improvement. Although the night ended in painful disappointment, it also reinforced the importance of resilience, preparation, and accountability. Every championship team experiences moments that test confidence before success eventually returns. The final whistle marked the end of one game, not the end of a career or a legacy. In professional football, setbacks become opportunities for growth when individuals choose determination over excuses. That lasting lesson remained far more important than the final score displayed on the stadium scoreboard.